Welcome to the Matt and John Show, where real patriots dive into real issues.
Welcome to the Matt and John Show, where we stand proud for freedom, family, and the values that make America great. Join us as we dive into today's most pressing issues, explore conservative perspectives, and celebrate the spirit of patriotism that unites us all. Let's get started.
All right, let's do it.
All right, Matt. It's kind of a somber day a little bit today.
Yeah, this is our second show, and boy, it's September 11th, and then all the events over the last 24 hours.
Yeah, it's
not going to be one of our enthusiastic shows.
Yeah,
that's for sure.
Yeah, unfortunately, we have to talk about some recent events in the news, specifically with the Charlie Kirk shooting, obviously the anniversary of 9/11, and then the most recent stabbing of Irina on a public bus. So it's a lot of downer topics today, but Matt, I feel that it's important that we talk about these issues because ultimately that's how we get the truth out, just talking. And,
it is, yep.
And just speaking our truth.
Talking and, yes, seek after the truth.
And so with that, I'll go ahead and just kind of give a quick overview because this is still, in a lot of ways, a developing story. But recently, as September 10th, in the afternoon, Charlie Kirk, a prominent conservative activist and founder of Turning Point USA, was shot and killed at Utah Valley University while addressing a crowd. The attack is described as targeted, with the shooter still at large. The FBI and local authorities are conducting a manhunt. So why is this controversial? Well, for context, Charlie Kirk was influential in mobilizing young voters and shaping the MAGA conservatism. His work aligned closely with former President Trump, and political violence has been rising in the U.S., affecting high-profile figures across the spectrum. So let's kind of dive into it. So what are kind of your first reactions and impressions, Matt, of this really, truly horrible incident?
My first reaction would be it's kind of like when the attempted Trump assassination, where the bullet literally, I mean, it's a miracle from God. He literally probably took his hand and moved his head. Trump never looks away and like looks at whatever he had on the screen, but at that exact moment it graces. And for the rest of the day, like, I was just in shock. It's kind of like, what if he hadn't turned his head? What would that look like had the freaking assassin, connected on his target? I mean, we wouldn't even be here. We wouldn't have all this amazing stuff that he's doing, but I mean, that would have changed the world forever, man. History.
Sure.
So yesterday, I talked to my wife. I talked to my brother. He was a good, solid dude, and all he wanted to do was sit down and talk with anybody. And, you know, I was listening all day last night and all day today to my podcasts, and I'm a podcaster. And they're just like, even behind the scenes, he's just like an all around good, man. And then he's got a wife, 2 young kids. I watched the video a bunch of times. And yeah, there's not.
It's hard to put it in words exactly what.
Yeah, I'm not
you're feeling
the best at communicating, but
yeah, because we're still trying to process this as well. This is fresh. I mean, it hasn't even been barely 24 hours,
right?
And when I first heard about the incident, I cried. I teared up. I was just heartbroken for a variety of reasons, specifically for his wife and children.
Right.
Knowing that his wife is going to have to go to their children and somehow explain to them that daddy's not coming home. And that
is crazy.
That really killed me. Like, I appreciate all the work that he's done in the MAGA conservative movement and helping so many people kind of liberate themselves from corrupt ideology and come over to a more sensible perspective, having healthy debates, and ultimately bringing many people to the conservative movement and ultimately getting Trump elected for his second term. I mean...
Oh, instrumental, yeah.
Yeah, he's done so much in just his 31 years of life that I aspire to be like him.
It's so crazy, too, as I was listening today and stuff. People were giving me the history. At 18, he started Turning Point, TSU, 17, 18. Coming out of high school, dropped out of college, and started with nothing. And literally now there is 3,500 organizations in high schools and colleges around the country. 3,500. I mean, at 18, you don't want to know what I was doing at 18. It wasn't smart. It wasn't smart moves, but
yeah.
The Lord knows that part.
Sure, we've all made some dumb mistakes,
but
at 18.
Yeah, right. But 18, I mean, dude, it's phenomenal.
Yeah,
Charlie.
Yeah, we lost a great one today, and evil reared its ugly head, and the whole nation is mourning his loss, and even those who didn't, particularly know who Charlie Kirk was or didn't follow him. Even his enemies and people who disagreed with him, they have to acknowledge the fact that he was a man of conviction, a man of principles, a man of God.
100%. My wife sent me a text, and he wanted to be known for, first and foremost, for his faith, in God. So,
yeah,
man.
I want to share with you something slightly personal that's coming from my faith background. So I'm a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Sometimes we're called Mormons. And Charlie Kirk actually said something on campus that really touched me. And even my church's official website, you got to remember, 17 million strong worldwide.
Sure.
And they posted this clip, and I want to show you this clip that he posted. So let's take a look.
Yeah.
We have the right shirt and tie crowd right there. Let me just continue. I love how Mormons send missionaries around the world. I love how polite you are. I half my team is Mormon. Terrell's a Mormon. Andrew's a Mormon. Mormons are great people. Everything I say, everybody, I'm an evangelical Christian. We're going to have fun with this, but I'm not one of those guys that hates on Mormons.
that dude in the background.
Yeah.
There's always one in every crowd.
Absolutely. But
That's awesome.
Obviously, that's my people and that's my community. But what really stood out to me is even in religious circles where tensions and debates can get really heated and disagreements run high, tempers can sometimes boil over. Like, Charlie was able to see past all of the kind of caricature versions of my faith and just see us for who we really are as people. And he was welcoming, loving, and just proof that he's the type of guy that cares more about the quality of the person that you are and really does his homework and really gets to know you as a person. And the fact that he had just such positive things to say about my church community, it let me know that he really was a truly honorable man. And I just wanted to share that clip because...
no, it's great. Yeah. Literally, all he wanted to do was sit down like we're sitting down and just talk, okay? We might not agree, but that's totally fine. What I loved about his events, too, is if you disagree with them, you are ordered to come up to the front of the line. Yes. You get moved to the front, and then you get to speak, and then they would interact and go back and forth.
Yeah, absolutely. And having a healthy, spirited debate was something that Charlie championed, and that will go down as one of the many legacies that he left for so many of us. I wanted to take a moment and play another clip from Ben Shapiro's show that I think does a really good job of kind of summing up a lot of feelings and ideas and everything that we're kind of going through right now. He does a pretty good job of articulating it. So I want to share that clip with you guys right now.
Now, it's still up to us. I saw a lot of rumors online today. I was made aware of this by my team that I canceled some sort of college tour. That's bullshit.
Yep.
I saw those rumors. They are false. I will be coming to college campuses, many of them this year. So will we all, I am sure, because we're Americans and we're not going to be deterred. Charlie's voice is not silent. We're going to pick up that blood-stained microphone where Charlie left it. And to those who would intimidate, who would seek to stop us, who would seek to end free discussion, who believe that they have ownership over public spaces and can violently threaten and kill people who speak freely, we are not going to stop. And I have two words: fuck you. We will not stop telling the truth. We will never stop telling the truth. We will never stop debating and discussing. We will never stop standing up for what America is and for what she should be. And we will never let Charlie Kirk's voice die. Goodbye to my friend, Charlie Kirk. May your memory be a blessing for your family and for your country and for all of us.
Good job, Ben.
Yeah, Ben did a good job breaking that down. And the most important thing that Ben really honed in on was the idea that we can't stop talking the truth. We can't be silenced, because once we stop speaking the truth and stop spreading light, that's when evil people win.
Right.
And it's like that saying that evil wins when good men do nothing.
Correct. 100%. Yep.
Yeah. So we love you, Charlie Kirk. Our prayers and thoughts are with you and your family at this time. And we love you. And we're going to pick up that bloody mic that Ben Shapiro was talking about, and we're going to keep using whatever platform, whatever means necessary to keep spreading the message of peace and liberty and freedom to everyone throughout the world.
Yeah, man. We ain't going to be silenced, man.
So let's go ahead and move on to our next topic today. Another somber topic today, but today is the 24th anniversary of the 9/11 attacks.
24. It's crazy.
This happened on September 11th, 2001. There was a coordinated terrorist attack that killed nearly 3,000 people, targeting the World Trade Center and Pentagon, and the plane that crashed over the field, I believe, in Pennsylvania.
Yeah. That there was actually heroes on that plane that brought the plane down.
Right.
They rose up. But yeah, continued.
But I think let's play the clips first, because they're so unbelievable. You just have to watch them to even start to begin to understand how people, you and I, our generation who actually saw it
Right.
on TV.
Oh, yeah.
It was just truly an unfathomable, I can't say that word, an unfathomable event.
Sorry.
Let's go ahead and I'll cue that up.
All right, here we go.
So this is going to be the, after the initial, so the first tower was struck, and the video that I'm going to show you is going to show the second tower being struck. And by then, all the news agencies and people have their camcorders out.
Oh, yeah.
Remember, this is before smartphones. Not everybody carried a video recording device.
Well, this was 2001.
Yeah.
People still had pagers.
Yeah, exactly. All right, here we go.
And that was on live TV when that happened.
Yeah. Yeah. And I remember very distinctly where I was during the 9/11 attacks. I was in 8th grade, and I was going to my friend's house, and they were going to pick us up and take us to school. This was middle school.
Mm.
And I remember watching the TV live because remember, I grew up on the West Coast. East Coast is 3 hours ahead. So, we were still kind of just waking up and kind of like, oh,
Sure.
what's going on, And I never forget looking at the TV, and all of a sudden I see a plane fly into the second building, and I turned to my friend. I was like, is this live or is this a replay? And he's like, it's live. And my heart just dropped. And I knew at that moment that nothing would ever be the same. And it actually activated me. That was kind of like my first inklings of being political, because I remember...
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
That's when I started to learn that there were people in the world that hated me just because of the country I came from.
Sure.
And that they would enact evil and violence upon me. And I remember I sat glued to the TV for 3 weeks straight, watching every ounce of coverage I could find. Looking back, I wish I would have recorded it, because we could have had some undoctored, unfiltered VHS tapes. That would have been really great.
VHS tapes.
Yeah, for us truthers out there that want to get to the real truth behind 9/11.
Oh, yeah.
But whatever your stance is on it, it was a truly evil day, and it basically kickstarted the war on terror, which then became the war in Iraq and the war in Afghanistan.
Right. Oh, yeah.
And a lot of men and women joined the military.
Because of that. Absolutely.
And it was a call to arms, and the world changed. Travel became more restrictive. You had the TSA that was organized. People were scared.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
It brought terror to the world in a way that we had never felt before. Pre 9/11 was a more safe, cuddly, warm world in America for the most part. But after that, it feels like there's been endless wars since then.
Yeah. No, absolutely. That rocked the world. I graduated 2001, so I graduated that June. And then September 11th, so that'd be 3 months later. I remember I was working, I was a cart boy, in Winco Foods.
Oh, Winco. Okay.
I believe I still was then, but I just remember my dad, it was like 9 o'clock our time or whatever, 8 o'clock, 8:30, 8:45. And he woke me up and said that, there was a plane that hit one of the towers and stuff. And so then I just started watching back when you only had, in my room, I had rabbit ears. So you had 6 different channels, 3, 7, 10, 13, 40, and 58.
You're so old. We're old.
I know, right? But yeah. And yeah, it's one of those moments where everybody remembers where they are, just like the JFK, the Martin Luther King assassinations, just like yesterday's assassination, the Trump assassination. It's just the moon landing, those type of major events, they stick with you in your mind.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the thing that I want kind of the younger generation to understand about 9/11 is that it really did scar our generation and kind of make us more pessimistic in our foreign policy and outlook on other countries. And that's probably why we have a lot of people, our generation, that's just anti-war, because after 9/11, we had the Bush years, and it felt like every other year there was a new war, a new military conflict, war. We would hear all the time about roadside bombings and soldiers getting blown up to pieces. And just like any major war or military conflict, you ask yourself, well, what's the point? Well, why are we sending our young men and women over to some country that I can't even find on a map to die and soak their blood in the sand.
Right.
For what purpose?
Sure.
Oh, we're bringing freedom to Iraqis. Like, well, do they want it? Is this warranted? Like, well, what's the escape plan? And then we pinned it on Saddam Hussein. I'm like, well, what did he have to do with 9/11? And then it became Osama bin Laden. He was the next boogeyman, you know?
Sure.
So it was never really a clear-cut end game in all of it. It just felt like the wars drug on and on and on. And I think that's the consequence of that is people our generation are like, we're just done. We're like, we don't want any more military conflicts. Like, it's all,
Yeah, no, I mean, back when we invaded Iraq, it was under weapons of mass destruction. And so as I've gotten a little bit more, I've heard, I don't know, it's harder to what to believe, but back then all the major intelligence agencies said that he had weapons of mass destruction and we have to go in there.
yeah. Yeah, I was like, oh yeah, our good old Bush. He's like, he talked about the axis of evil.
Right.
It's Iran, Iraq, and North Korea. They're the axis of evil, and they've got weapons of mass destruction. And we got to get in there and get those sons of guns.
Right. And I use the word guns. Sons of guns.
In that Texas accent, you know, and there was a time, I would say, I applaud the American people because we came together as a country. It was ultra patriotic post 9/11.
9/11, yeah.
A good 6 to maybe 12 months of people would say, you know, yes, sir, Mr. President, where do we got to go? Like, well, let's take out the bad guys. Like, let's get it done. Let's fulfill our mission and get retribution to who did this. And unfortunately, this is just my own opinion on things. It seemed like this operation, this deep state evil, and I'll just be very clear with our audience, I do believe that this was premeditated, because you asked any structural engineer, there were charges that went off. You could see
That's what we've heard.
that there's no way that it could have.
So we're going to do a show on that part too.
Yeah.
Stuff will get. We can do the moon landing.
Yeah, conspiracy theories by Matt and John. But however you want to look at it, it was coordinated and planned by a group of evil people, and whoever that was, you know, that's up for you to determine. I have my own opinions on that. We won't get into that today.
Sure.
So as the years have rolled on, I look back on it. I'm like, I feel like we were co-opted into sending our troops over to essentially get America's boot in the Middle East and secure oil deals and whatever other national interests for the United States. So that's my take on it. And I will never disparage any person who served. They served under the idea and banner that we must end extremism, Islamic extremism, and we must do everything in our power to stop any ideological extremist from enacting this kind of evil in our borders again.
Yeah. No, the soldiers, absolutely. You went over and, you know, there's, you know, I've heard soldiers say they feel bad about it, but no, you did your job. You went and put your life on the line, whether you believe in why we were over there or not, but you went and you did your job, and I am so thankful for you being willing to go out and do that. It takes a lot, man, to sign up and really say, I'm going to put my life in jeopardy for my country, right?
Yeah, and I agree 100%. The military, they're doing what they're ordered to do. And I mean, they still have a conscience to guide them, but they have to uphold the Constitution. So if you really want to pin it on anyone, pin it on the political leaders and in Congress. And if you have any beef with any military operation, then you need to go let your voice be known to the political leaders.
Sure.
Yeah, don't take it out on the soldiers. They're just trying to do what they feel is right.
They are our heroes, man.
They are our heroes.
For reals.
Yeah. I believe Tucker Carlson is coming out with a 5-part series, kind of going into a deep dive
Into 9/11.
into 9/11.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm curious to see. You and I will watch together, and then we'll do a show about it.
Yeah. So I think that would be a good one to look forward to. From what I've seen him post online, he's just kind of revisiting a lot of questions of, well, what happened that day, and who was involved, and was it a deep state operation? Is there more evidence that's being withheld or not? Well, what about the 9/11 Commission report that was supposed to explain everything? I think
there's a lot of questions.
There is a lot of
billions or trillions of dollars disappeared the day before. Building 7. My wife and I have talked about this before, and I love questions, right? So I like to get down as close as I can to the truth. So I'm always down for questions. So go ahead, email the show if you've got questions or topics. We're looking forward to that. But there is a lot of questions.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. We could easily do a couple episodes just focusing on, the Pentagon, or, like you said, Building 7, or little pieces of evidence that just don't add up,
right? Right.
And then all the video and audio footage that they've released. So we'll definitely have to go deeper into that, and but we just wanted to just commemorate the anniversary of 9/11 and always remember and never forget.
Yeah. No, never forget. Mark Levin, one of the podcast guys, Hat Tip Mark Levin, he does a recording. I tried to find it for today, but it's a recording of just audio because it's a podcast. But you hear like the 911 callers, and they're just going back and forth, and it's usually like 3, 4, 5 minutes, but it's pretty powerful. All you do is it's just all audio, and you hear all just the insane hellness on that day going through the audio portion here.
Yeah. In fact, thank you for bringing that up, because I did have one more.
Oh, you got it? Oh,
it's
something like that.
Tower 2 falling. So let's go ahead and watch that right now.
Tallest building in the city. And that was the first one. The second one hadn't even come down yet.
Yeah. So that was just a little taste of the horror that America witnessed that day. And that's why it's so important that we have to keep talking about it on the anniversary so we never forget.
I was watching, and I was swiping through clips, trying to look for stuff. I'm seeing just the fire department and police running up when everyone was running down. Yeah, and they gave their lives to go try to save people, and then the building collapsed. So,
yeah.
Thank you, firemen. Thank you, police. You guys are our heroes, and military, straight up.
Absolutely. So recently there was an incident involving Irina Zarutska. She was a 23-year-old Ukrainian refugee and was stabbed to death on a Charlotte, North Carolina train. The incident was captured on surveillance video, and it was shared publicly. The suspect was DeCarlos Brown, a black man with a prior criminal record and documented mental illness, charged with first-degree murder. For context, Zarutska had fled war in Ukraine, actively assimilated, did everything a refugee fleeing a war-torn country is supposed to do. She was working and studying in the U.S. She worked at
legal.
Yeah, she worked at a pizzeria. She just got off her shift. I'm sure she was tired, and all she wanted to do was get on the bus and relax and have a safe ride home. But instead, she paid with her life. And I'm going to show kind of unfortunately, it's a very graphic and gruesome video, so we're only going to show you the last few clips after she was initially stabbed, and you see the last few moments of her life before she slips away.
That's crazy. She didn't even know it.
Pretty chilling, Matt.
It was, and then come to find out, he's been arrested, or he's got 14, been arrested 14 times. He shouldn't even be out. Quick PSA, and I do this all the time too, but when you're out in public, gotta get off your darn phone. If you have to, put your back against the wall. You need to be aware of your surroundings. I do it. I'm the worst, but
You bring up a really good point that public safety, as in my lifetime, it feels like it's at an all-time low. Right. When you're in Democratic-run cities where they don't necessarily care about the public safety, especially if you're a certain demographic,
right.
then you're basically left to your own devices. And so if you're going to go in public spaces, you got, like you just said, you got to keep your guard up. You got to protect yourself by any means necessary. And I like your tip. Head up, put your phone down.
Keep a head on a swivel, man. And unfortunately, that's where we're at right now. I'm hoping to God that we can get back to the way where that's not happening. But, if you're in a restaurant, make sure your back is the door, where your exits are. And then also we got to tell our kids, and make sure you always have awareness in your environment.
Yeah.
It's pretty crazy because she's just sitting there and he's sitting there, and in his mind to pull out his pocket knife, which he had to fold out, it blows my mind. Like, in his head, that felt like that was the right thing to do. You know what I mean? Like, I'm going to take that action. I don't get that concept, but
yeah. But what I want to say about race relations in the United States, it feels like when I was a kid that we acknowledged differences in race, and in fact, we would joke about it. We would watch stand-up comedians, and they'd say, white people do this, black people do that, Asian people do this, and we'd all laugh at, stereotypes and whatnot. And it was okay. We could rib each other and riff off each other, and it was all good and fun. And we would acknowledge differences in race and culture, but I feel like the racism was fewer and far between now, where it's kind of like everybody's on ultra high sensitivity alert that if you even breathe or say anything offensive or culturally inappropriate, cultural appropriation, if you do anything like that, we're going to cancel you.
Sure.
And so it leads to these situations where white people don't want to say anything. They don't want to talk about these kinds of issues because we're afraid we're going to get canceled. And then black people are tired of being lumped in with degenerates. There's so many wonderful black people out there that do good, and they're loving families, and they're great Americans and true patriots. And it's just those few bad apples that kind of spoil it for everyone,
And everything, yeah.
And the thing is, America, by and large, when you compare us to the rest of the world and the rest of history, really, we're actually one of the most tolerant places in the world.
Yeah.
And yet we still keep spewing this propaganda.
That's on purpose, and it's coming from one side.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
It's coming from the Democratic side, the news media, the institutions. It's total one-sided, and it's on purpose, because if you and I are here, and I have a third-party person over here, if they can sow division between you and I, they have the power, right? So, for example, if we're neighbors, right? You and I can't get along, then we need the government. We need somebody else to kind of like I turn to them and give them the power. But you and I are getting along. We're drinking a cold beer, sitting on the front porch, maybe having a stogie, a cigar. Then we don't. The power is not there.
Right.
So that's what communists do. They have to sow division.
Yeah. And I think that is the core of this entire issue, that if the elites, if the deep state, if the powers that be, the communists, the globalists, they want us fighting with each other. Because if we're so busy fighting each other over race, sexual identity, DEI issues, whatever, if we keep fighting with one another, then we won't actually organize and come together and say, hey, wait a second, why do we have to keep taking crap from these globalists? Like, let's kick them out and do what we want to do, right?
Yeah.
And promote American ideals.
We the
values.
people.
That's right, exactly. And Trump said it best, they're not after me, they're after you. I just happen to be in their way.
Correct. 100%. Yeah.
So let's not, start hating one another just because we have different political persuasions or different skin colors. Let's remember who the real bad guys are, and that's the globalists, the elites, the deep state that wants to see your
communists,
yeah,
socialists.
Yeah, those are the true bad guys because they want to take away your liberty, your power, your freedom, your ability to buy and sell and practice your religion freely and go in public spaces and free speech. They want to take all of that away. They want to see the Constitution burn. They want to take away the Bill of Rights. They want to create a new world order, and we're not going to let them do that.
Which they're in control. That's what they want. Yes.
Yep. And the United States is a city on the hill. We're a light, we're a beacon shining, and we are holding the line on Western civilization and democracy. And that's why it's important for us as Americans to hold the standard of truth as high and as strong as we can. So that way we can send a signal to the rest of the world that you can live a free and peaceful life, and that we don't have to go down this dark timeline of awfulness where the world ends and we have to completely rebuild civilization because of economic or political or nuclear fallout,
Yeah, no. America is it's man's last hope. If we don't remain as America, what does the world even look like? Imagine China. I know. Are we closing out? Imagine a China or a Russia without America being the America that we are. They would literally just be like World War II. They could take over. They would try to take over as much land and resources as they possibly can.
Yeah. Have you ever played that game Risk?
Maybe a long time ago, probably once, but I think I would like that game. Yes.
Yeah.
I think I played it when I was maybe 7 or 8.
Yeah.
Up in the mountains.
Yeah. So Risk is a world conquest game, and you have your armies all over all over the world, and you can attack or defend, and you roll the dice, and depending on the dice roll, you can either win a battle, lose a battle. You can grow your armies. If you can capture entire continents, you can get like bonuses to get bonus armies. The whole idea is to just capture different countries.
Yeah.
And I think you're right. If the United States was somehow gone, that we would be playing a game of Risk where countries would just keep dominating and expanding, taking over as many countries as they can. And that's the beautiful thing about the United States, is that we are putting those countries in check and making sure that we live in a somewhat cohesive, peaceful world.
Sure. Yeah. 100%.
So that was a huge tangent, but going back to Irina, I think another thing I just wanted to quickly point out was this idea that she is a white Ukrainian refugee fleeing from war. And I was watching a video, and basically they made the point where when there was a crazed, I think he was black, individual on a train. I think it was Danny. What was it?
Yeah, in New York.
In New York. And we had a Good Samaritan step up and stop him.
Daniel, go in.
Yeah. And we had this individual, he was just on a train, same situation, except we had a black person.
Daniel Penny, that's what it is.
Thank you.
Daniel Penny, yeah.
Daniel Penny.
Right.
Daniel Penny saw a dangerous situation. He was trained in hand-to-hand combat, and he restrained the individual. And what did he get for it? He got months, I think years of litigation.
They tried to put him in jail.
Yeah.
Like not just jail, but prison. Yeah, for manslaughter or something. I don't know the full details, but yeah, they tried to do it. Fortunately, something happened to where he didn't have to, but the Good Samaritan, I mean, he was doing what was right. Like, literally, the dude was saying that he's going to kill these old ladies and you know.
Yeah, so we treat heroes like criminals, and then we treat criminals by elevating them and saying, oh, society has wronged you, and therefore we should give you multiple chances, even though that poses a huge risk to society by letting criminals and dangerous people back out into the streets without executing the full extent of the law. Like,
well, it's in democratic cities. It's try to do that in, you know, places like Texas, Tennessee, Utah, but try to do that in red states or red cities and counties, and that's not going to happen. Especially if people can arm themselves. It doesn't happen. It's not. Yeah, it's not. So,
and the last point I'll make is that why did it take, what was it, 4 or 5 days before major news outlets started to report on this incident?
Sure.
And we all know the reason. We all know the answer, and it's because it was black on white violence,
right?
Particularly an immigrant who fled a war-torn country, and because of that, it didn't align with the progressive agenda. Had the roles been reversed and it was a white person that attacked a black person, you would have seen marches,
sure.
You would have seen property damage, there would have been rioting in the streets, there would have been screaming for justice.
The Democrats are waiting for a story, another George Floyd.
They're waiting for that.
But here's the thing, I don't think us Americans are going to put up, or it's not going to have the same weight as it did back then. They kind of played their hand, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
The communists did.
Yeah. Actually, that's a good point. So they've played the 9/11 hand. They've played the George Floyd hand. They've played the pandemic hand. And as long as we keep remembering, keep talking about it, we're going to say, hey, wait a second. So they can't play their cards twice.
Right.
And so we'll be able
use
to
your capital. You've already used your hand.
Right.
So.
And I think that's a big reason why the Democrats are suffering. They're just bleeding numbers right now because there's no social justice movement that they can exploit to further their agenda. And so they try and make things up. Like most recently, they were trying to say like, "Oh, we haven't seen Trump in 3 or 4 days. He must be."
Oh Lord, yeah.
Like
this, yeah.
Talking about grasping at straws, like that's just desperate, my friends. Like a better ploy. So
Lord.
Yeah. So God bless Irina and her family. She didn't deserve this, and I wanted to play one more quick clip that just goes a little bit into kind of the background of the judges that were re-releasing the perpetrator back into society over and over again. You can kind of see the breakdown of why we failed Irina and how this was preventable.
This is Teresa Stokes, a Harris donor who doesn't even have a law degree, but just made a career criminal and a schizophrenic who beat his own sister when he was out on parole. Pinky promised that he'd behave. Miss Stokes wasn't elected. She was nominated by the clerk. In Mecklenburg County, the sitting clerk is Alyssa Chin Gary. On her LinkedIn page, she calls herself a clerk and a DEI consultant and a racial equity organizer. Wow. And her life mission? Reparations.
We are here to honor them, to lift their names, and to continue the intergenerational work that we are required to do to eliminate structural racism.
Ms. Stokes was nominated by Judge Carla Archie. Judge Archie is friends with Eric Holder, Obama's wingman. And Judge Archie isn't just any judge. In 2019, she was the DEI Champion of the Year. Is this starting to make sense? Did a woman die because of DEI? Just a couple months ago, a guy shot 5 people on New Year's, and Judge Archie sentenced him to 1.5 years for shooting 5 people. 1.5 years.
Wow.
This is a DEI court, and they have blood on their hands. And if the people in robes are on the same side as the bad guys, that's suicide. Are you okay with the country committing judicial suicide? I'm not. DEI died when Kamala lost. It's illegal. And releasing felons with dozens of arrests for social justice is a crime against the country. They've set up these dangerous DEI courts in cities nationwide, catching and releasing criminals to prey on innocent people. These courts need to be systematically dismantled, and that needs to happen immediately.
Powerful words.
Jesse Waters, right?
Jesse
Yeah.
Waters from
Good job, Jesse.
So I think the main theme here is the problem with DEI and DEI courts is that we're putting feelings over facts. And we have...
It's not a meritocracy. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely.
We have a individual, say a black person, come into a court that's propelled by DEI ideology and DEI judges. They're going to take one look at that black person and not even consider the facts of the case. And they'll just say, oh, well, society's wronged you. It's built to oppress people like you. So we're going to give you as many chances as possible and not actually follow the rule of law and punish you according to the law.
Sure.
And so that's why we saw so many incidences of this individual being released over and over again. They said like 14 prior arrests. And
it's crazy too, in these Democratic run cities, these blue communist cities, it's cashless bail. So you can go commit the crime, and then I have to tell the judge, yes, sir, or ma'am, I promise I'll come back on my court date, and then I get to walk away, bro.
Yeah. And that was the frustrating thing is
I think
most
it's called
recent
reconnaissance bond or something.
Yeah, his most recent arrest was a pinky promise, like Jesse Waters was saying, like, oh, please come back to court and then we'll prosecute you. It's like, no way. Like, they're not going to come back. And so we are essentially, by trying to fight racism with DEI, we're actually promoting racism because we're now elevating one demographic of people of the United States over another. And so if you go into a DEI court and you look a certain way, you're going to get preferential treatment, which is by definition racist.
Of course.
And so that's why Trump said, we're done with that. We ain't doing it.
Right.
And I love what Jesse Waters said. We need to disassemble these DEI judges and courts and just get back to Lady Justice with Justice is Blind. Being
the law, yes, the law. If you break the law, doesn't matter what your exterior looks like, what's between up or down, what do you got? It does not matter. The law should apply to you. It should apply to me. It should the people that are in the government. The exact same laws need to apply to everybody.
Matt, I think we've covered all of our topics today.
All right.
Well, it was definitely a lot of heavy topics, but I think they were good ones that we had to talk about. And, on this historic day of 9/11, we remember those who lost their lives on September 11th.
24 years ago, yeah.
And unfortunately, now we have to commemorate Charlie Kirk September 10th of every year and remember his life on that day. So this now becomes kind of 2 days of kind of sadness going forward, and for the rest of our lives. But the thought and the message Matt and I want to leave with you guys is don't stop fighting. I think Trump said it best that when he was in his most desperate hour, when he was standing on stage in Butler, Pennsylvania, when he had those shots fired on him and he didn't know if he was going to live or die. And he had his last ounce of strength. He was able to get up, one shoe, blood dripping down his face. And what did he say?
The 3 F words.
That's
fight.
Exactly. Okay.
That's awesome.
So let's remember Charlie Kirk and all those patriots who love America by continuing their legacy, by fighting for what we know to be true and good in this country.
Well, before we end, I love how Ben Shapiro ended his pod earlier. We're not going to be silenced. Okay. If you tell me not to say something, I'm going to do a whole freaking show on it. We're going to seek the truth, and we're going to bring the truth out. And then he closed it out with the big fuck you. So you can go fuck yourself. You're not going to tell us what to do. We're not going to be silent. We're not going to stop our events. Matter of fact, we're going to do more of them. We might have to do them indoors, but that's a different story. But we're going to keep gathering in the square, the town square. And yeah, we're going to fight. We're going to continue going. And, yeah,
I love it.
that's all I got.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
We want to thank everyone for tuning into the Matt and John Show. Together, we're keeping the flame of liberty alive and shining a light on the truth. Stay strong, stay free, and until next time, God bless America.
God bless America.
Thanks for listening to the Matt and John Show. Be sure to follow us on social media. And until next time, God bless you and God bless America.